I was 12, Fatboy was 11. We would always pre-plan things before school was out. And he would always tell me before school was out, hey man, I need you to come over to the house and tell T that I'm hanging out with you, whatever. And you know, you the only one, man, that he'll listen to let me come outside and play. So I would have to go over, knock on the door. And, you know, obviously, you know, if you ain't been looking at episodes, T was a 6'3" Jamaican chisel from the same granite they cut Mount Rushmore out of the mountains in South Dakota. But I would come over to the house and, you know, he'd ask me questions and stuff. This, you know, I'm like 12, Fatboy like 11 or something like that. And it took a lot of years for me and Fat to find out that we was in crime seminars, indoctrinations. We was in crime seminar indoctrinations and didn't even know it. He was grooming us. From early years, he was grooming us to see if we were scary and stuff like that. And for the record, whatever T told us to do, me and Fat, we carried it out with soldier-like discipline. All he had to do is just point at something and tell us to go do it. And we was like chainsaws, you know, on automatic pilot, we would do it. So when we got up some years and, you know, we went to understanding what the politics was in the street life, Fat called me and told me, he was like, man, hey man, where you at? He was kind of frantic in his own way. And I was like, man, what's up, man? He was like, T done broke out. I said, broke out? What you mean broke out? No way he got light. Man, he broke out. He called me. We got to find him. We got to go and get him, man. He told us blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. So anyway, this MF done broke out of the state penitentiary. So by the time he made it to where we was at, where we was situated at, you know, he had his face wrapped up. It was so comical to see a dude with all these muscles chiseled up like this here. You know, he had his face wrapped up in like a shirt, like a bandana shirt kind of way with just his eyes, so you could see his eyes. But he hugged me, gave me a tight hug, and, you know, told me he went to bragging about being bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger and Steven Seagal, Van Damme, and you know, Steven Seagal and Van Damme and all of them, right? So that was kind of crazy, but he broke out. So the rewind to take y'all guys back when we was in Jackson, Mississippi. T trained us again like soldiers in the military, and it wasn't physical, it was always mental. But when we got to these certain places that we would go, and you know, we would always be loaded with the business. We always was loaded. He'll go somewhere, a bushy area, and park the car to the side and turn on the hazard lights, and he would go in the bushes and he would, you know, get his knife and mark a tree, and that's how he would, you know, that's how we would move. That would be the drop spot for us to go back and get other things or whatever. So after about, I say, a few months of doing that in the city of Jackson, for some reason, he tested me and Percy to see if our training was up to par. And he gave Percy a lot to change people's life. And he told me to watch out. So we went to a spot and we went and Fat dug a hole, and I was standing around watching. He was like, man, look out. I said, I'm looking, just go ahead, do what you got to do. When we came back to come and get that, it was gone. It was gone. And T was so mad. I mean, he was fiery hot. And how he was talking like he was gonna try to put hands on Fat. And I remember yanking that thing up. I had like a little 38 or a 357 snug nose or something like that. We was in Jackson. I yanked it up. We was in the hotel. He was like, What that blood clot? Y'all pulling up, pulling a blood clot gun on me. Me I make you eat that blood clot. Me I raise you. Why y'all do me like that? Percy, you can't do nothing. You can't think for nothing. And yeah, Percy, I was like, man, don't worry about nothing, man. I said, man, you ain't finna put your hand on my own boy, man. We ain't look no more, whatever. So that was kind of like things that he had us to do. And that blew over. Obviously, it blew over because we stuck together or whatever. But, that's just some of the things he would do. And, just thinking back, I was over at the house. I was probably about 15. And I seen him coming in, and I seen little specks of blood on the sweatshirt, like little specks, like somebody just took a thing and like put some fingers in a red paint and just did that or whatever. And I was asking him, what's all the specks of blood going on your shirt? And he looked at me and was like, man, don't question me about nothing, man. Don't question me. Just go on, man. Me talk to you a little more, man. Just leave, man. Don't come over here, man, and talk to me about nothing, man. And later on, I found out that somebody met the end. But to piggyback off the story that I was saying, a guy that I was inside with, he met him when he was on the run after he broke out from the state penitentiary. He met a guy that was spending about $8,000-9,000 a week, and that guy ended up getting caught with some stolen property and telling the people that caught him, the police that caught him with all that stolen property, he set him up to avoid that trouble, not knowing that this guy was a convicted murderer and he had broke out of the state penitentiary or whatever. And he got locked up because I had been telling him to come to the country. Come to the country. You could breathe. You could walk around. It's a lot of stuff you could do in the country. And he regretted that for a long, long time. But after about 30 years in, he got out and they deported him. And I'm still hearing now that he over in Jamaica climbing trees and, going up, getting coconuts out the trees and climbing up trees. But if you saw this man, you would know that he ain't no joke.